Hey, everybody, welcome back to Offshore Live number 19 with Nick Megee, Chris Pommnitz, and Steve-O. You guys will recognize Steve-O. Nick and Chris are from the Jersey Shore Boat Racing Organization here at the Jersey Shore. They're taking on the responsibility of reviving Skiff, Garvey, and SK Boat Racing here, and happy to have you guys in. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And you all know Steve-O from the
Good morning.
Ammo Camo, Jersey Outlaw, gun safety tips, apocalypse information. What else you got?
Stephen M.
Stephen M. taking on a new rap career.
Yeah, we're going to see how the rap career goes.
I heard you bumping in the caddy on the way back from Myrtle Beach.
Big booming.
Real quick, congratulations to all our national champions, our Northeast Championship Series winners, and our APBA national champions. Thanks for coming to Myrtle Beach. Sorry about the weather, guys. We tried moving it south, but it didn't work out. And big thank you to Kirk Hanna from North Myrtle Beach RV for hosting. We had a great time, right?
Awesome time.
Cool.
Absolute best time. So hope
now
to
why
do it next year?
Why we're really here. Why don't you introduce yourself, Nick? You're the VP here?
Yeah, I'm the VP of the club.
VP?
Yep.
Do me a favor. Slide those mics up pretty close to you.
Like this.
They move. They're not fragile. And if you break them, you won't be the first guys.
Well, that's all I need to know then.
Very good.
So why don't you tell the folks a little bit what you're doing with your club and where you boys come from?
Oh, I'm from Forked River. I race a Jersey Speed Skiff. I've been doing this, I don't know, since like 2010 or so. Kind of got my feet wet with the local club racing. Went off the APBA race there for a while. And my first race, I was probably about a week old with my dad. And I grew up watching this stuff. And one of his dreams before he passed away was to see this local racing come back to what it used to be, when everybody just had fun and just had a hell of a time racing. So when he passed away, I kind of felt obligated because I saw all the fire and all the new kids that are coming up that bought the Garveys. They just want to run. And I see the same fire in their eyes that I had in mine. So figured kill two birds with one stone, make my dad happy, make the boys happy, and get local racing back to what it used to be.
That's badass. And I can tell you, I could speak to that too from being a fan all those years. You guys really have an awesome situation where your local teams partnered up with local fans at local sites with local sponsors. It's just a really good mix. So where are you guys at right now with getting the club off the ground? Just structuring?
Yeah, everything's structured right now. I just filled out all the paperwork for the LLC. I should have that back in about 2 weeks. And then we can start working on our sponsors. We can start working on race sites, going out there, sticking a few to figure out where we can run, where we can't run, and figure out how many races we could do.
Right, right. And Chris, your background here, you've been around this for quite a while.
Yeah, so I grew up as a kid watching Garvey racing. I got involved similarly around 2010, raced a Garvey. Moved away as an apprentice, went down south, so I was away for a few years. Now I've been back riding as a co-pilot and, just working on boats, making parts, doing stuff like that.
And you're a fabricator, right?
Yeah, so I do machine work, welding, fabrication.
Where are you located?
I'm in Bayville now. So I'm from Barnegat, but now I'm in Bayville.
Well, there you go, Jersey Shore. Got a new fabricator.
There you go.
He's pretty good, too.
Little shameless plug, right?
There you go.
Our
Ain't nothing
shameless
wrong with
plug
that.
is go see Knits Craft.
That's right.
There you go.
right.
Perfect. Send me the logo. We'll put that shameless logo in here, too.
Very cool. Very cool.
And so I went to your first meeting. Well, not your first meeting, my first meeting. What, about a month ago now?
Yeah, about that.
And so on the OPA side, guys, we decided to get involved. There's been quite a few of these clubs over the years that have brought it to great heights. Just in the last 6-7 years, am I wrong in saying it's been laying dormant?
For the most part.
It's been spinning wheels. It's really not been able to get the movement and leadership together for it to get back to where it was. And these guys absolutely are showing some major promise and getting some things rolling with a good boat count and great future looking.
Well, and I could tell you from coming from OPA's roots, sometimes all you need is a kick in the ass.
That's what I'm here for.
And when we were first getting off the ground, it's funny. My father was just telling a story in Myrtle Beach. The original owner of OPA walked in one day and said, I'm done with this, guys. I been through the ringer, tired of getting my ass kicked. I'm just tired of beating my head against the wall. So he walked in, put the books on my old man's desk, and just said, run with it, Smitty. And my old man was racing for about a year at the time, but a fan for, ever. But didn't know the first thing about any of this. And if I was to sit here and tell you that we just, floundered our way through this, I'd be lying to you. There's a whole list of people that helped us along the way that got us rolling. And so for those of you listening and kind of discovering this for the first time, our mission here as OPA, as it pertains to a partnership here, our goal is just to help you guys, stand next to you, get you up off the ground and get you rolling. Because really, I think if anybody listening to this that hasn't seen your sport, you're in for a rude awakening when you see it for the first time. It's way more intense than offshore. Why don't you walk me through some of your classes?
Well, for right now, for the first year, I think we just decided we're going to do it kind of as you go, more or less, only because I got to get the boat count up. We're going to have nothing if we don't have a boat count. I think we have 13 committed now. And I'm sure once we get going, we show we're established, more boats will start coming out of the woodwork. But, I mean, we got our Jersey Speed skiffs. That's what I race. I raced in the Garveys before, but I love my skiffs. We have a few SK boats coming out. And, of course, we got the Garveys, and hopefully we're going to be doing 350 class in them, a 358 class, and maybe some modifieds if they come out.
I think if you move around the country, I think it's really between the skiff and the Garvey that everybody either knows a little better, right? What exactly is the specifications of an SK boat?
It's kind of a loaded subject. I mean, you got Kevin that's coming out, and he has his motors in front of him.
Yeah.
While most other SKs, like APBA style SKs and SEs, all the motors are behind them.
Which is probably most of the ones that I've seen.
Yep. So, I mean, we've had a few out there. Wasn't Ice Age motor in front of them, too?
Ice Age was in the back, and then Cliff's boat.
That was in the front.
That was in the front, and that was actually rather short. That was, I'm going to guess,
15 feet or so.
Yeah, I was going to say 14 and a half. It was small boat and way fast.
And not to cut you off, but that boat's for sale again if anybody wants to go out there and buy it and get along with us.
There you go.
There you go. So is that the general length on those, around 15 feet, or is that a shorter boat?
Shorter.
That's shorter.
That's shorter.
16
Yeah.
foot is right about.
What are they typically?
Well, like skiff is 16 foot.
Garveys are 16 and a half
Yep.
for like the stock classes, for stock 2-barrel, stock 4-barrel. And then when you get into the 358s or modifieds, they want them to be 17 and a half because you're dealing with a lot more speed.
Right.
Whereas the SK, like people that are more familiar with APBA, they're common, like they run K boats, right? So the big blower motor, they're like 18 feet, you know.
Now these are are they jet driven?
No, they're a V drive.
So what is the SK speed? What's that stand for?
The designation.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like
the designation. Like Jersey Speed Skiff's a JS, Garvey's G, SK is a ski boat.
What does SK stand for? Like G obviously is Garvey.
I always thought it was ski, like without
what I thought,
without
too,
the
right?
I.
Yeah, it's
Right.
But like APBA, like you'll have an SE class, that's a sportsman's entry class.
There you
Right.
go.
So that's a little lower. But
So they're running those boats in some conditions with superchargers and way bigger horsepower. That's got to be a fucking ride.
Yeah, the K boats that's a man sport. And nobody here doing that.
you got to have a set of balls to get in one of them.
No, I just want to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out west, like Arizona and stuff, because right now any boat that goes over a certain speed, they're trying to get capsuled.
Right.
And which is smart because, I mean, they just lost one guy, I want to say on the West Coast last year, racing an SK.
Right.
So, I mean, it's...
Was that Mark Wheeler?
No. I forget the guy's name.
Yes.
Yeah, they're crazy fast. I mean, I've been to what's the name of your YouTube channel?
For Shore Shot 725 or JSkiff 98.
JSkiff 98. I was on your JSkiff 98 looking up some of your what were we watching? Bradenton?
No, we're watching Greenwood Lake, you guys.
Greenwood
racing.
Lake.
Oh, when I was in the 77?
And it was rather exciting. The two of us are just like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
We were like little kids, man.
Coming in those turns hot.
I've grown up around offshore, so offshore to me looks very almost like poetry to me. Like I see what's going on, I see the mistakes, I see what it is. I've been around it my whole life.
Yep.
I watch you guys race, and I'm like, this is fucking mayhem. It really is. I mean, it's just off the wall. The crazy thing is the RPM you guys are pulling. I mean, it sounds like the motors just want to come apart and jump out of the boat, you know? And I kind of felt like that the first time I got in one, too.
We were actually able to see your tack.
Yeah.
Jumping from 6, and as soon as you come out of the water, we'd like pin at 8. And we're like, no rev limiters?
I think we decided that might have been the last race of the season.
No. The guy that built those motors for her, was it the white skiff or was it the blue one?
White cage. I don't know.
All right,
Yeah,
so
white
so
cage.
that was a lap dancer boat.
Okay.
Scotty that builds those engines.
Yeah.
Never had an issue with them.
Amazing.
They
Right.
just keep on going. And I mean,
Screamer.
race to race, we just go out there and we do what we have to do.
Dude, it's badass.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Well, you're in luck because my motor for the 254 is almost done. If you want to go for a ride in a skiff this summer.
Fuck yeah, I'm in. I'm
right.
in. I've never been in a skiff. I've been in a Garvey, and I got kind of I don't know what the term is for that. Is it like a snake oil salesman?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So we're at the offshore race in Patchogue, Long Island, and a bunch of the skiffs and Garveys came up to kind of put on a show.
And Scotty and them with the accident.
Yep. So we're there in the morning at the drivers' meeting. I'm there for offshore. I'm racing in Class 6 at the time. And he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, one of my guys came up with the Garveys, and they came up without a co-pilot. So it's not a big deal. You just got to sit there. You don't have a job or anything. Just sit in the boat, balance it out. And he's just going to take it easy." I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm in." So I get my helmet, my jacket. I go walking down. They're racing at like 10 o'clock in the morning or
Yeah, it
something
was
before
early.
the offshore race. So just so, I mean, anybody who knows me knows, like, around the races, I'm not even functioning till 11:30. My brain's just racked, So I go walking down there. I get in the boat. Mike Yagiello?
Yep.
Is that who it
was
is?
Mikey who took you.
And the blue boat.
Yeah. So we're out there, and so I get in the boat. First thing, I wasn't really accustomed to walking out into the water and jumping in the boat. So I'm like, well, this is kind of cool, It's like a day at Ski Beach or something up the Mullica, So I got in the boat, and a real nice guy, Mikey, jumps in, and he starts going through, like, the procedures, and he's like, when we go in a turn, try to lean with me, try to help me out with this, help me out with that. I'm like, that's cool. He goes, if you see the oil get under, like, 20 pounds, pull the kill switch. I'm like, all right, I could do that. He goes, if you don't, there's a good chance you're going to wear it, So I'm like,
Yeah, and
got
it's
it.
hot. I've been there.
Got it. Okay. So we get up, and you're gonna walk me through this in a second, but we're doing what I would call a parade lap.
Yeah.
Right. Just a nice easy roll around the course, and
The warm-up laps.
it's not flat in the Great South Bay in Long Island. Back when we had that race, it was one of the rougher races we ever
Yeah.
did. Just the only thing that was on their side was it was early in the morning, so nothing had kicked up yet. So he comes around and we slow down, and I'm assuming we're about to get up for the start, and he says to me, "Okay, we're going to go now." And I'm thinking we were going the whole fucking time. I'm like, "Okay, all right, got it." So he's like, "We're going to go now. Just, it's going to get a little crazy." He goes, "But listen, if it rolls over, do your best to get away from it." I go, "That happen often?" He goes, "Last time." Closes the visor on his
accurate.
helmet, and away we went. I was never so happy for an alternator to take a shit, or a distributor cap. He broke the
Yes,
distributor cap.
yes.
I was never so happy for something to take a shit in a boat in my entire
Did
life.
you get out with the knees weak?
Oh, man, I was kissing the ground. I got back. I ran a pretty radical boat in offshore. So, like, I was kind of known for being the wingnut, And I was never so happy to get back in my little race boat ever in my life. You guys are nuts. You guys are nuts.
Well, you got to remember, you're also doing it. How big are your boats?
Well, mine was 22, but, I mean, generally they're bigger than that.
So,
I mean,
everything we're doing is 16, 17 foot, so.
well, and it's
And
not
you're
even
like
the length.
that high off the water.
Yeah.
The freeboard and the degree of the bottom. Like, I'm running on basically a knife. I mean, if I hit something, I go through it. You guys hit it like a textbook.
It happens. I mean, I got pictures of my phone where just completely sideways like this
yeah.
coming out of a
Awesome,
turn.
man.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, if you're not scared, I'll take you for a ride.
Oh, dude, I ain't scared. I'll go. I complain later, but I'll always go.
Yeah.
I had
So-
a thing on my skiff on the blue one. Every time I take somebody for a ride, first words out of her mouth all the time, "Are you going to kill me? Am I going to die in this?" So I said, screw it. I put hashtag, "but did you die?" And every time we came back, I'd point at the sticker on the dash.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Brit with the go fast, don't fuck up.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
I'm actually looking forward as this progresses to get the Garveys and skiffs and ski boats at an OPA event and be that snake oil salesman again, and because there's some offshore guys that need these rides.
oh, absolutely. And I think there's some offshore guys that'll make the jump, without
Oh.
a doubt.
Yeah, I believe that.
I know Smitty's already looking. I know he was talking to his buddy Jimmy about possibly buying one of his old skiffs.
He's hot on a skiff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll be involved.
I know a guy.
Listen, racers are racers, and that's one of the beautiful things about our two clubs kind of getting together here. Is the one thing I noticed right away, right off the bat, is sitting in your meetings, your guys are the same as my guys, and my guys are the same as your guys. If we ever wound up in the same room at the same time, it'd just be one big family.
And you want to know who's who from what club.
Absolutely. And
Truth.
so I think us getting together really had to happen. It was like there was no way around it.
I mean, it's an opportunity that both of us could just take it and run and make something really big out of this.
Well, and I identify a lot with you. Like I work with my father every day, but I very much so follow in his footsteps, as are you, and I respect what you're doing, and I respect what your club's doing. and a lot of real respectable guys in your club. I was pretty amazed at that first meeting how well spoken they were about not just what you want to do and where you want to get, but how they plan to get there. And that was what was most impressive. I get a lot of calls for help, but not often are they actually doing anything to help themselves.
We have a lot of guys that are actually starting out to really step up and say, what do you need done? What do you need help with? And I'm not ashamed. Like, here, I'll give you some legwork. Go do it for me. Take a load off me, and we really get this going. And that's what I'm pretty sure that's pretty much step we're in now. I mean, we're actually down to the point where we're trying to lock down race sites. And then, I mean, we won't know how many races we're having until I get a better boat count. So this way we can figure out insurance dues. But, I mean, as of now, we're probably looking about 6-7 races.
Right.
Just to start off. Maybe a few tests and tunes. And hopefully I'd like to do a radar run in between there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep. The radar runs are fun.
What are some of your top numbers in those boats? I mean, are the Garveys getting in the 70s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the 70s?
You got the modifieds. I mean, they're doing that. Well, Hammer Time hit 100, didn't it?
Yeah, but I can go back to just Rob's yellow boat, the All Fired Up.
Oh, yeah.
That was a 358, and I did the radar run in Cambridge, I think, with that, and that was 75.
Right.
So
Which is fast. I mean,
it's definitely fast, and that boat that was not a crazy motor. That boat's going a lot faster.
right.
So I know there's some boats that some of these guys have that are capable of some high speeds.
Well, and what's most impressive to me, just as a fan of you guys, is watching the race. Your straightaways aren't. It's not like they're very long.
No, it's a short course, maybe half a
3/4.
mile.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So these boats are actually hitting numbers like that in a quarter mile is the total length of the track. So what do you figure your straightaways are?
It all depends on the course we're at.
I think the tracks are more like a half a mile
Yeah,
total.
Okay, so you got like
yeah.
quarter straights.
Half
Yeah.
a
About.
mile max.
So what's wild is if you know anything about boats, it's not like a quarter mile in a car where, a car you're just banging gears. And these things, you're trying to get them around a turn, keep them straight, fight for a lane, figure out where the guy in front of you is going.
Keep them flat.
Yeah.
And this like surfboard with a small block on it is trying to run out from under you. It's the craziest thing. I can't wait. I'm so excited for the day where we wind up at the same site.
Yeah.
And some of these guys like around the offshore stuff actually get to put their eyes on this because I've seen it from the beach and from a boat, like watching you guys, to be kind of doing my homework for this and watching some of your onboard cameras. And back when I was a fan, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, it's come
GoPros
a-
weren't,
The technology's come so far.
Yeah, I mean, GoPros, just that alone changed the way people look at our sport.
And now you got the 360 ones where you can see everything
It's
around
badass, man. Imagine once somebody figures out how to put one of those on a turn buoy.
Oh yeah.
without taking the buoy out first.
Yep.
Yeah, don't run that one over. That'll be expensive.
Yep. But that's been the craziest thing for me is really kind of putting myself in the boats with you guys and watching how hard the competition is. So something I was kind of curious about, and I was asking him when we were in Myrtle Beach, was like your starting procedures. He was trying to tell me there's like a clock that you guys are syncing up with.
That's for APBA.
That's, yeah, APBA, we use a clock.
So how are you guys going to do it?
flag starts.
Flag starts. So what do? You kind of get the guys up and running?
It's you go out there, you do your warm up lap, get your oil up, where you want it, and all that stuff, and then you're going to mill around one corner. When all the boats meet up there, you're going to come around, and the ultimate goal is to have all the boats lined up coming across the flag boat, and then once they drop the flag, you just hit the gas and you're going. You're racing for 5 laps.
Like a
Five
slow
laps.
rolling start.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think they do more than 30
Yeah.
at the
No.
at the start.
You
It's
want-
below that.
You want to be lining up at turn 3, coming together. The inside boat's the pace boat.
Right.
And then everybody's getting on it through there. Normally, we tell them not to race to the check or to the green flag, but
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's,
Well, it all depends on
I
who
know
we
better
have on the
than that.
flag boat.
yeah, it's,
No slingshotting.
yeah,
Okay. yeah.
Offshore wouldn't know anything about that.
Nope.
That's too funny. But I just think it's cool. And so how many, like when you're watching that, when we were watching that video from Greenwood Lake, I mean, it seemed like you guys were running like 10, 15 laps.
We do 5 laps. So in APBA, it's a clock start. So they'll tell you, in the driver's meeting that morning, they'll say, all right, you got a 4-minute gun today or you got a 5-minute gun. You're going to have a minute markup or you're going to have a 45-second markup. So the idea is to go out there, get your warm-up laps in, and then some races, they make you pick lanes, but you actually have to go out there and you fight for your lane. So once you come out of the one turn, you're coming up to that markup pin, you're stuck in that lane. You can't move out of it. So then as long as you hit that buoy either the minute or the 45, then you just race around there and you're all lined up. And it's on you to get a good start because if you miss a start with a clock run, you're done for the day because
Right.
they're going to walk and you're in that dirty water and your boat's not going anywhere.
Right. So how hard is that when you guys are running to make passes? Like watching that video, I'm going to keep referencing that video, and we'll throw it up in the podcast so everybody can watch it and see what I'm talking about. It seems like it's almost impossible to get a line on somebody.
The problem with the skiffs is when you're sitting down when I'm in a cage and you're on plane and the boat's just like this, so you can't do anything. You have to literally rely on your rider to tell you, all right, you got a boat to the left, you got a right. Like in the video that you're talking about, that's my son riding with me. So in that boat, I'm driving high side. So when the boat goes up on a turn like this, I'm up in the air. So he's the one that's down low, and you can see like he's probably one of the best riders I've ever had. Him and my buddy Pasty. I mean, they let me know. They'll watch the gauges. At one point in one of the videos, you actually see one of the gauges pop out. My son puts his foot back on there and pushes the gauge back in, and we just continue going. But it's a rush because, I mean, with that, you're usually running 5 boats, 6 boats in the heat. And if you don't get out front and your prop hits that dirty water, it's just you're just literally spinning your wheels. You can't get anywhere. Right. And if you watch our starts, I mean, if we get a good start, I think it's a Lake Apacon video. I'm coming across, and we're like 3 or 4 riding. I could probably reach out with the cage and touch the other person's cage. That's how close we're coming across the start-finish line.
Right. Well, and that's one thing we're all aware of. This guy's gotten a rap for a long time. Is around offshore, there's a term we use. You know, they ran that boat like a Garvey guy. You know, and
it happens.
If the shoe fits, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's funny. What you were just telling me a story about putting a rub rail up on Jim Simmons or something.
Maybe.
Yeah. So he earned that name too. And
we even scared Cairo 1.
Yeah, which was a much bigger boat
Much
than you.
much bigger.
Who was
Sammy
running
Strickland?
Cairo 1 was a 41
41.
Apache, and we raced it in the old 31 Scarab, and Joey gets close, and it's okay, and they didn't like that.
Well, and Cairo 1 was famously driven by the recipient of the Godfather Cup last weekend in Myrtle Beach, Rob Lauer, wasn't it?
Whoa, you are right.
How about that shit?
You are right. I don't believe Rob was in it at that race. I think he was in after.
It was
that.
a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I never saw a 41 Apache do the things that boat did when Rob Lauer was in it.
Oh, of course.
I remember the time it went down the inside of Simmons' 34 Phantom, and I'm like, that's not supposed to happen.
That's a Garvey racer.
Sounds like an APBA race. I'm holding my lane. You're going to have to hit me or take me out to get me to move.
Yep.
It's cool shit, man. So kind of getting away from the skiffs a little bit, what's the big difference between running them versus the Garveys? And kind of cool because you're primarily a Garvey guy, right?
Garvey, and I've been a skiff bitch a couple times. I had some good skiffs, but I mean, if you guys want to comment on the difference, I know the difference, so
Feel free. You haven't talked much.
Yeah, I mean, they're completely different animals, right? So the Garveys, they turn much flatter, I would say, from riding in both, driving a Garvey. We could damn near have a 1-pin turn. You can come wide open, put it on 1 pin, and come back. The way the trim plates operate, right? So a skiff, they're running a T-handle where they have very fine adjustment. Very fine adjustment changes the attitude of the boat a lot.
Ours are lock plates too.
So the Garveys, it's a foot-operated system. So you're flying it, if you want to call it that. And it's set. Most guys are setting them where they are dropping the right side lower than the left, kind of to kick the boat up and pivot on the nose. I mean, they will turn
like nothing. Like nothing.
It doesn't even need any wheel. Just the trim plates alone will turn the boat.
And they have center rudders that they spin on too, right?
They do. So the
Skegs.
rudder, they have a front fin skeg, whatever you want to call it. Probably 9-10 feet from the transom forward. So they definitely bite and pivot off that. I think if you didn't have it, you'd probably
never turn.
You'd go to turn, and then 50 feet later, you'd hit the bulkhead, and that would be the end of it.
Because they are basically flat bottom boats,
Oh yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Both of them are.
Yeah, especially the Garvey. I mean, I think there's a rule of like 1/2 of an inch, total radius or angle in the bottom.
And good thing you brought that up. You reminded me. That's kind of the misconception too. Like when people explain skiffs, they always call them like the little V bottom, but
Yeah,
they're not V bottoms either.
No, yeah, that's a flat bottom as well.
Nothing V about them. I mean, they're as flat as the Garvey pretty much.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because you watch the skiffs roll up on their side, you would think it's running on a keel.
Nope.
And then when you see them out of the water, I mean, they're basically flat bottom boats too.
It's a flat bottom.
Yeah.
So, and then, the Garveys, basically all the Garveys now, the rudder is mounted on the transom off a fabricated or cast aluminum box. The skiffs, it's a toss-up. Some guys still have the rudders underneath the boat. Some guys have them mounted on the transom.
Guilty.
That's,
I like
that'll
the
be the
old
100-year debate with the skiff guys and what's better.
Yeah.
So if the rudder's in the front, wouldn't that divert water away from the propeller?
No, in the skiff case, there's still the rudders behind the.
Okay.
It's still
I got
behind
you.
the propeller.
I got you.
It's just not. It's when they're under the boat, they're not as far back as
I got you.
when they're off the box, off the transom.
Right. Now the plates, that's something cool that I dig. I just think the way the Garveys spin around on those plates is too cool.
Yeah.
Now they're independent from each other.
No. So they're together. It's controlled off of, like I said, you have a foot pedal that operates a rod on the transom, and they're all operated together. The turnbuckles are typically adjusted to different lengths.
Okay, so depending on the course you're on, you kind of set your plate.
I guess you could. Most guys, once it's set.
It's set.
It's
set
set.
it and forget it.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say that. Yep.
I got you.
You find out what kind of works and what puts you in the drink.
So when you're saying you're kind of jacking the right side to get the boat to push its way over, is that a bend you're putting in the plate beforehand?
No. So the plates are hinged, actually. So you have the freedom to move them independently from one another, but they operate as a unit, if that makes sense.
Okay, I got you. So you can manipulate which one's higher and lower, but then move them at the same rate.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that way
Exactly.
I got you. Yeah,
They
'cause that
always
would be a
move at the
bitch.
same rate because it's one your
control
left
rod.
foot operates the whole plate,
Right.
and the fine adjustments come from the turnbuckles.
Yes, sir.
Where you can drive the right side, the starboard side of the
Dig a
Garvey
little
plate
harder.
into the water a little more.
Right.
Which it'll
Get it to kick over.
it'll kick over a little bit.
Right.
So
And I've been in some fast Garveys when you're going around that turn. It'll set you in the seat.
Oh yeah, it's wild, man. That's to me that's where Garveys kind of take the cake is with that. Like when you see 5 or 6 of them go piling into turn one, it's cool. But then as the race starts to shake out, you start to see there's like 1 or 2 guys that just start picking people off,
And they're going to start separating.
they
Get
got the
that,
line.
yep.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy because see, to me it's such a wild sport because with offshore, there's a lot of strategy. Like, and not that there's not in what you guys are doing, but it's almost like a slower paced strategy. Like I know, like if I'm running a 10-lap race and it's a 45-minute run, right? I know that by lap 3, I need to be at least in front of this guy. I know by lap 6, I need to kind of have a shakedown on the rest of the guys and know where I'm going with it because I got 2-3 laps left. We all run the same speed. They're big boats, so they don't really make mistakes. Like in bracket racing, if you take a 26-foot, like Franny Vell's boat, take like the Larry Smith.
Yep.
You take the 26 Larry Smith with 800-900 horsepower in it with big, long K-planes off the back. If you plant that thing down, it don't do anything wrong. So they're just out running it around, Yeah. So if you're behind them, good luck trying to figure out how to get around them. You're just stuck at that number. I watch you guys run, and it's wide fucking open from green to checkers.
yeah,
Never left.
has to be.
Yeah. And it's cool to me because there's no time. There's no like, all right, I'm just going to take this lap easy, and then no, it's wide open.
Yeah. Well, the race is on a half-mile course, and you have 3 laps, so there's no time not to be wide open.
It's a shootout, man. And it's cool because you really get to see like the guy who nails it first.
Yes.
It just comes through the pack, like figures out how to get around the course.
Yeah.
I've had that a few times in the skiffs where I'm racing some big names like Cesar Simonelli. He's a huge name in skiff racing. He builds boats and everything. And he had a boat. I mean, I call it the junkyard boat, the 195. Every week we go out and test. We blow up a motor. I'd run home, throw another motor, go out and race again. And, deliberately picking people off with that boat because I'd get the inside lane and I would just hook it enough to where they couldn't catch me. And by the time we're coming into the next turn, they were on my heels. But I'll just hook that boat, get it up on the side, and just push them away from me.
Right.
And that's the whole thing with finding a lane. Like you said, you find a lane, nothing's going to get around you.
It's the closest I've ever seen. Like the common comparison is like, around offshore is like, well, how do we make it like NASCAR? Like that's what you hear all the time. And I have to like nicely explain to people that'll never happen. Like it's just a totally different world.
Yeah.
But with you guys, it kind of really is that way. Like it's stock. It's as stock can be, right? So you where your parameters where you don't have them set yet, but once you do, your parameters are pretty easy to police.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the most part, it seems like the boats are pretty much even.
They are, and that's why, like, when you and your dad said we could bring the boats here and weigh them this year, that's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get the weight on the boats, then you can know where you could add weight, you could take away weight, and that's going to make a hell of a difference.
Dial them in.
Yeah,
Yep.
the guys that really get it are the guys that are putting the time in testing, doing the prop work. I mean, that's the difference.
That's
between,
the key, right?
Yeah,
The
there's
props-
a lot of
the
prop.
props make
I
a
mean,
huge
that's-
difference.
So that's kind of where I was going to go. Like when you watch, like your motors are pretty heads up, the boats are pretty heads up, and it's funny. You have the same common denominator in all forms of boat racing. It comes down to the prop.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's prop work and who's got the biggest set of balls. Honestly, I mean,
Absolutely,
it's-
yeah. Who wants it?
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that's so. If you guys ever wonder why I get so fired up about this, is because my first and foremost passion and love in this sport is the bracket class racers. He knows that. Every one of my guys know that. I dig fire. I dig when somebody just shows up and they want it more than the next guy, and that's bracket class racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I started coming to your meetings, doing my homework, watching what you guys are all about, that's 100% the name of the game.
And that's goes back to the beginning of this. Like, in 2016, me and the president now, we had a good thing going. We had test and tunes, we had race dates and everything, and came out to the first test and tune, and we kind of got blown up. We got our spot blown up from other people, and we just said, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore. I went back to APBA and raced. I swore up and down, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I'm done with local racing. I'm just going to keep on doing my thing here. And like, just going to the test and tunes last year, like, I see all these kids, and they got the Garveys now, and, you know, they're talking about skiffs and stuff. And like I said, I mean, that's the fire. You can see the fire in their eyes. All they want to do is race. One kid, he went out there, he blew up his motor the one weekend testing this summer. Just bought the boat. Went out next weekend, he was out there with a new motor to test it because this is what he loves.
Right.
So, and like I said, that's what it's about for me.
Yeah.
I was talking to Boomer. Well, we were talking on the way up here, and I told him that the Garvey Club skiffs and ski boats, it's really like a family tree that you can trace back generation after generation.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are similarities to NASCAR because NASCAR was put together by a bunch of rednecks. Well, this was put together by a bunch of pineys.
Wasn't it a bunch of bootlegging rednecks?
Something like that. But in that same family, you know, you're dealing with rednecks and pineys and hicks, and this is what they do. And the family's there, and it's really an incredible experience. Not that we don't have any rednecks in offshore at this point.
Oh, we got plenty of those. They're my favorite.
But they didn't start offshore.
The whole thing is, like, you can go out to a race, and if it's a good run race, the camaraderie is second to none.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
you come in there, and the ball busting alone is what I love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much fun. You come in there, like, you know, you have a guy that's kicking your ass every week, and all of a sudden, you find out that perfect combination for your prop and that order that you're running there, you beat them, you come in there, and you bust their balls.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what's fun about it.
Well, and that's also part of the opportunity that we see here, like from the OPA side. That's when I do these podcasts over, this is 19 now, so 18 of these. I say it in every single podcast. You can't beat the family. Like the people you meet, the friends you make, it's a family. Whether you realize it or not, it becomes one, you know? And so I got to tell you a funny story. I think it was you that commented today about my hard drive. Was it you?
No.
Matt? Was it a Matt? Do you guys have a Matt?
Matt Mason?
Matt Mason.
Yep.
Matt Mason. So it cracked me
He's
up.
one of the ones that I was talking about, has that fire in his eyes.
Dude, I've been part of your little family here now for, a month? So I threw up a thing today. My hard drive melted
Yeah, I
down.
saw that.
That's like my baby that has all my offshore shit on it, right? So right away, one of the Garvey guys, like, I got a cousin. I got a guy. Go see him.
That's Matt.
Tell him you know me. You know, and it cracks me up because it transcends. Like I tend to think like offshore is this unique little unicorn, right? And then I run into you guys, and it's the same with you guys. Yeah. It's the same tight-knit family thing. So like, it's so cool to me to see that there's more levels to this. There's more areas to go. There's territories to conquer. Mm-hmm. And I just can't wait to put this all together with you guys and get it off the ground.
It's funny because, like you say, it's a family thing. I'm second generation. My dad raced, like I said, he raced locally with the APB, or like the Speed Garvey Association and all them. He raced them in the 80s. And then he went offshore. He was racing Pat Lauer's, the B-33, the Kamikaze.
Yep.
He's raced the brown one and the white one. And then he went back to APBA with the little boat. And then, you know, here I come years later watching him coming out there. And then somebody came up to me like, hey, you mind riding one of these? I'm like, yeah, what the hell, I'll do it. So I got in a Garvey, and I'm psyched as hell. My dad's living in Florida. I'm like, yeah, I got in a race. And he's like, I can't believe you're doing this and this, that, and the other thing. And he's like, oh, well, what are you in? And I said, a Garvey. He's like, no. He goes, we can't do the Garvey thing. He goes, you know, I got the shit kicked out of me in a Garvey. So I was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, let's look for a skiff. And I went for my first ride in a skiff on a race course, and I mean, we went up there. That time the boat went up like that, I said, I'm sold. I got to get one. I think that was in July or August. In September, I had my first skiff.
What's the name of your team?
My team coming back to that is Family Affair Racing.
That's cool.
Because, like I said, it was my dad, it's me, then my son got into racing. He was racing the T-boat for a while. And then my two daughters, I got a little 13-foot or so wind race. There's a little 25 outboard on it. And me and Chris are redoing that.
Nice.
And we're going to throw them in it to go out there and
that's cool.
cut their teeth racing with us if we can get the little boats back into the club.
That's cool. That's
Yep.
cool.
Awesome.
So you guys, you mentioned test and tune a lot.
Yes.
And I dig that. That's a cool, see, with Offshore, our testing's the day before the race. Now, you guys actually hold full-blown events for guys to come, test their setups, work with each other, maybe pass some stuff back and forth. That's got to be pretty cool.
It's essentially, I mean, it's like a race day. You know, boats have to be there at a certain time, and just like any other race, tech's going to go over you. And they're going to say, yeah, you're good to go or you're not good to go.
And safety.
Exactly. And if you're not good to go, you have the time, because you don't have to be in the water at a certain time, to go out and fix it if you can right there. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, even the test and tunes last year, coming back to Matt Mason, you know, he's out there trying to figure out his boat. So I said, all right, here's a few props. Try some of my props for my skiff and see what they do. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about. Like, you want the boats to come out early. Like, I don't think we're going to do a race first this year. I want to do a test and tune. So this way, nobody has an excuse. You go out there, your boat's ready to go. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Come the first race. But the test and tunes are all-day event. You know, we'll throw the barbecue up and
that's an easy day for everyone, because the races, guys get amped up a bit. They feel a little more pressure. They might not admit it, but there's a little more pressure there to make sure they finish the race and, of course, win. The test and tunes is just like it's a casual day, and it's a lot of fun for everybody. And those who's watching are still having fun because they get to see the loud boats go running around. Well,
and I'm super jealous because, like, when we're running, like, for instance, the Phantom behind you guys on the wall, you can't just take that out and run it. Because it's not the equipment or anything like that. God forbid you put that boat over and somebody got knocked out or something like that, which is the same with you guys. It's the same with any dangerous motorsport, right? But the capabilities just aren't there of an extraction team, a safety team, a standby team. That's not there when you're just trying to go make sure it was really a spark plug or something, you know what I mean? So by you guys doing those test and tunes where you're not just offering a day of test and tune, but also it's a safe, closed environment where guys can really go hang them out and be safe.
And that's the whole thing. Even when they're out there, like, your boat does not go onto that course. Your boat could be in the water, but does not go on that course until the safety team's out there, because something happens, God forbid.
That shit happens quick, man.
And real quick, especially in the Garveys. Like, I've seen them coming down a flat stretch and they hit that turn, they're over like that.
Right.
But the big aspect of that is, like, you know, we don't want it to feel like a race. So we'll send one boat out and we'll tell the next boat that's going out, all right, you know, when this boat gets to this side of this turn and they're in the middle of the course, then you go out. So this way they're not physically racing each other and they can go at their own pace.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's just really cool. It's a cool tool for your guys. It really is, because coming from my world, that's a huge leg up. Mm-hmm. There's certain people in our sport, like, for instance, there's a guy, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, Sean Torrente, who's kind of taking the super stock class by storm right now, where this guy's full-time job is to run that boat. He's in that boat every day, where he lives at home. It's in the water, trying props, doing stuff. It's his full-time job, and it shows when he gets to the race course.
I need a job like that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's his performance. Listen, I know a lot of guys that live, eat, shit, sleep this stuff, but this guy, it's clear as day. When he gets there, he's prepared. He knows what the race course is going to look like. He's tested 3-pin turns, 2-pin turns. He knows what props are right. He knows where the boat wants to wait. And it's such an advantage. You see it right out of the gate. The boat's set up. It's flying level. The attitude's right. Whereas everybody else needs a lap or two. You know what I mean? Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and by then it's too late.
Right.
He's already walking away from you.
And it's just so cool that you guys are doing that, because testing it's the name of the game. It really is.
And, well, I mean, that's another thing, too. Like, we can just go out whenever we want. Especially, like, my skiffs, the one that I just sold, it was registered and insured. And I'm the type of person, like, I don't make a big spectacle if I'm going out testing. I'll put the boat on a trailer. I'll go there. I'll call maybe one person just in case something happens. I'll throw the boat in the water. I'll do a few laps. And by the time somebody hears the boat, I'm already on the trailer and heading home.
Right.
I just don't want to make a big spectacle of it.
Yeah.
There's one other difference. Like, Sean has already offered to sell his props off his boat for any race he wins or even does well. And that's a huge difference between the Garvey guys, because there are Garvey guys who will lend you a prop, but when they get that gold prop, that's hidden completely, and it's only on the boat, and comes right off the boat after it's raced, and it's not going anywhere.
You think Sean's going to give up his gold set of props?
Well, that's what he says.
What he says and what he does are going to be two different things, buddy. And Sean actually is an interesting case because he's sponsored by DeWalt.
Oh.
So DeWalt makes his props and takes care of him. And but yeah, that's an awesome program. And really, it's a lot of it's just attributed to testing. I mean, he's got a prop guy in his corner. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's the big difference.
the video
with us,
that you
know?
saw from the Lake Apacon race. That's a DeWalt 4-blade prop on that boat.
Right.
I mean, night and day difference.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place now because I just built a new skiff, and I'm so focused on getting this going. The skiff is just sitting in the carport right now. Like I haven't touched it, I haven't rigged it, I haven't done none of that. But I've lent out a few of my props because I don't know which one's going to be good for that boat. So if something works on somebody else's boat and it doesn't work on a new skiff when I get it rigged, well, I'll get rid of that prop just to get a new one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't mind helping people. Like I said, that never bothers me. And I'm not the type of person, like I won't hold a grudge. If you don't like me, that's fine. You come out to a race and your boat passes tech and it passes safety, go out there and race.
Right.
Just do your thing.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how similar all these boats look when you whether it's ski boat, Garvey, or skiff. Every prop makes that boat completely different.
Right.
Like you could run the prop on your old boat and it could be the best prop in the world and put it on your new boat and it's a bag of bones.
Exactly.
It's crap.
That's why I
So,
said, like, I'm not worried about lending the props out that I have now because once the new skiff's ready and it's all rigged up, I'm going to make a day and I'm going to go out and test. I'm going to run every single prop. And if one of the props doesn't do what I want, well, that's the first one I'm going to sell.
Right. So now for people listening that are maybe thinking, well, I can't afford offshore, so I'm going to buy myself a skiff. What goes into this? You're running small blocks, right?
All right. So APBA, you're only allowed basically bone stock 283s or 305s. That's it. Us, you could run whatever the hell you want. You want to build a roller motor for your skiff? Do it. You know what I mean? It's just you're going to be in the class designated for that motor.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, APBA, you're a little more fair. But if we don't have enough skiffs out, well, then we're going to run the skiffs together. But the boat with the bigger motor is going to run on the outside.
Right.
Just to give the little guy on the inside a little more fair advantage. Just like this year, like we're going to have classes per se, but if we don't have a boat count that day, well, and we have to put a 358 with a 350 class, well, those 358s are going to run on the outside.
Right. Right. Now, is that so? When you're saying 350 to 358, is there a difference in the build of the engine, or it's just a little more cubes?
little difference in the
Yeah.
engine too, because
So-
the cam is different.
But same carburetor.
Yep.
Um,
Well, that all
maybe
depends.
not.
Yeah.
So it gets
Yeah.
a little sticky there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So because I'm a fan, and I think people listening probably are too. It's been a long time since this stuff's been around. So, like, these are things I don't know. You know what I mean? Like how the structure is within the classes and how you do go about placing these boats.
Well, I mean, essentially, when first it was, you had the 2-barrel class, you had the 4-barrel class.
Yep. It's two and 4 barrel 315 max.
Yeah.
And then we had the we had the 358 and then the 375 and then modified.
Modified, yep.
The 375s kind of fell by the wayside. Everybody was going for the 358s, and then towards the end, like 2012, 2013, they started going for more modifieds. So then we'd have faster boats. But there was always that base of the 2-barrel and the 4-barrel 315s.
Right, which I think most people, if they're familiar with the sport, are familiar with. What is the modified class?
That's
Monsters.
you put a motor in there and you run it, and
It don't matter.
Naturally aspirated.
Yes.
Is the only
Yeah.
catch.
No
Only catch.
no turbos, supercharger,
That
no
would-
alcohol. You know
That would look really cool in one of those.
Yeah, of course it would.
And that's the whole thing. Like, there's actually one of them for sale right now, a modified. They just brand new boat. Jarvis has it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And back in the day, I mean, when they used to run, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, they had a boat out there, Hammer Time. I
Yep.
mean, that was a 100-mile-an-hour boat all day long.
Yeah.
And when those boys went out there to race, there wasn't a crowd in the house or a soul in the house that wasn't fixated on that race.
Now,
Because
modifieds are skiffs and Garveys?
no,
or
just garbage.
Just
Just
Garveys.
Garveys,
Yes.
yep, okay.
Yes.
And like I said,
Why?
they're monsters on the water because
They can handle that in the
they're a
turns and all?
wider boat, they're a longer boat, so they can handle it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm watching like your videos of your skiffs running and trying to imagine that at 105 or something.
Yeah,
That looks
no.
like
Oh,
a fucking
God.
handful.
With the skiffs, like I said, you got a good boat if you're doing like anywhere between 70 and 75. You got a
Right.
good running boat.
Right. Which is extremely respectable. Like it's like in my world, speed numbers are so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like you hear these poker run guys. Like this is what's crazy to me is the way the sports, not the sport, but the actual what do you call boating? The boating community.
Yes.
The boating community in general, the steps it's taken in horsepower is insane. Like when I first started racing, if you heard somebody had a 1350, a 1550, that was like big power, and you knew it wasn't going to last. It was good for like a lap or two, you know? Yeah. Now, Mercury's selling these 1750s with warranties to Joe Schmo, who's never owned a boat before. And they're out at these poker runs running 180, 190 with them. It's like insane. And then people ask me, like, oh, you race boats? Like, yeah, what do you do? I run class 6, 70 miles an hour. And they're like, oh. Like, it's badass, man. I'm trying to tell people it's not the same thing as just going straight. You know?
The sensation of speed with boats, as we all know, and guys and girls in offshore know, that sensation of speed on water is
totally different,
completely different than any automobile or airplane or what have you. So take that sensation on the water in offshore boats or pleasure boats or what have you. Multiply that by 1,000 by when you sit down into a Garvey or a skiff, which you can attest to.
Yeah.
The sensation of speed is when they hit that gas, it's full speed, like immediately.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
Well, and what's nuts is, and you're 100% right, that little green boat I ran, the Carrera, that's deemed by offshore legend Art Lilly as the flying football. I was known as the guy that spent more time in the air than in the water, you know, and like there's nothing about me that's afraid of a boat. I don't have fear. I grew up in them. I love them. When I got in that boat in Patchogue with Mike, I shit my pants, man. I did. I was like, this is fucking nuts, because you're right. The sensation is so much different.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a boat with freeboard and you can go like this and it's dong dong next to you, I'm safe. I'm in this fucking thing, you know? And that I'm holding on behind this guy's back over here and like around a tractor header over here, you know?
He said a tractor header.
You know, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing, man? You know, it's like, this is way too fast to be on my front door, you know? But it's what it's so cool is the way you guys have dialed in those boats for the turns. Like that's what blows my mind. Like I assume the average person probably watches the straightaways. Like that's like, oh, they want to see them go fast. But when you guys get to those pins and start ripping them around the pins, it's incredible, man. And the skiffs are right there with the Garveys because of just how loose they are. Like, you know, nothing about them really wants to be doing it. You're manhandling it.
You're with the skiff, you know you're doing good if you're right on that ragged edge where you're not winging out, but you still have it under control. That's how you know you're doing good.
Right.
It's that close too.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and I can't. I'm such a nerd for this now because we were watching a video in the RV. I mean, we were right or wrong. We were like little kids.
Oh yeah.
It was,
yeah, because there were 2 times that I remember seeing that we were like, whoa. That was like that much over the line, and it could have been bad.
If there was somebody standing outside the RV, the noises that we were making were like, whoa, what the fuck? What's going on? Dude, they get this attitude to them where you start watching them dig. And it looks like they're good. Like it looks like they're just rocked over in the turn doing their thing, and then all of a sudden it just all hell breaks loose. And is there a technique to that? I mean, is there something you could speak to, or is it just figure it out, stupid?
You just nailed it right on the head.
Right.
I mean, it's just it's. You could say it's a learning curve. Like I've been in a boat with people that don't know how to drive per se, and I've been in the boat with people that know how to drive. And if you've been in it long enough, you know who could drive and who can't. I mean, you just feel comfortable with somebody, and other people are like, no. That's why, like, I will not get in the passenger seat of a skiff anymore.
Right.
I'm a driver, plain and simple.
So there's definitely a finesse, I think, you know.
With skiffs?
With the Garveys. I think there's a finesse.
I think it's more finesse and luck with the skiffs and experience, of course. With the Garveys, experience is huge.
Yeah.
But I always remember going when the first Garvey I bought and drove that Denny Dyer and the other guys in Barnegat would tell, like, when you go around a corner, you mash the plate and keep the gas on the floor. Do not lift. And I'm, you know, you want me to go around a corner 70 miles an hour, do not lift, okay? And they say if you lift, you're going over. So, okay, now I got the fear of going over if I lift, so I'm not lifting, and I'm going to mash the plate, which sets the boat. It just grabs it into the water, and go around the corner full speed. And that doesn't really compute until you do it. And then once you do it, you're like, okay, I get it. And then the finesse part comes out with the Garvey, where you start working the plate, where you're not mashing it completely. You're putting it down, and as you're coming out of the turn, you're slowly lifting it out, and things like that. So basically, it's full throttle all the way, and you're working the plate. So
how little plate can I not take a bath?
Well,
yes.
And you said my favorite word, finesse.
Yeah.
So now, when you're playing with the plate, I'm assuming what you mean is, well, the obvious terms there is drag and everything else. But what are you pulling down to? Like is that the game you're trying to figure out where the threshold is of keeping her up in the numbers and still planting the bow?
Like it's your guy's equivalent of trim. I mean, it's you're
well,
trimming.
Yes and no. If I put my trim tab down, I still go straight.
True. Yeah. True. Also true. I mean, you can pretty much mash the plate and fight it to keep it straight. I mean,
right.
Just because you're mashing it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to make a left turn.
You've gone too far when your head comes up out of the water and your boat's upside down floating away.
Yeah.
You said, shit, that's a little bit too far.
I mean, you could see it like as a spectator, somebody that's new and doesn't know where they're just burying the nose. It's plowing and, obviously you're losing speed.
Now, are you doing that into the turn or are you doing that once you're ready to turn?
Right as you're about to turn.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
So it's one motion, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a fluid motion.
And that's pretty much the same thing with the skiffs. Like, I'll set my plate before when the bow of my boat reaches the turn pin, the entrance of the turn pin, that's when I'll hit my plate. And you'll see the skiff, like, it'll lay flat like this, and then you'll see the bow rise up. And then we'll come around the turn with the bow in the air. And then you'll see me, before I'm out of the turn, coming out, I'll reach down, I'll throw the plate, and you'll see the boat lay down. That's when I take off again.
Right.
And it also helps when you know your own boat, too.
Right.
Like, I've been thrown in a few skiffs where, like, all right, I do this with my boat, and then you do it with that boat. It's like, oh, no, can't do that again.
Well, and you know what's funny is almost any one of you guys that I run into all kind of say the same thing. Is it normal that everybody kind of runs each other's boats and jumps in and out? And
it is a small community. I mean, I wouldn't say it's normal, but there's been a few times. I mean, perfect example is I went to Florida in 2016 to race with my dad. They were having a race there, and one of the skiffs there, the guy broke his ribs the week before. He went out there, he tried racing the first race, and mind you, I flew there to race with my dad. Next thing I know, the next day I'm racing against my dad in the other boat.
Right.
And the same thing. I mean, we went out there, that boat was so loose. I had made a few adjustments to it the next day, and I mean, sorry, Dad, but I whooped your ass the next day.
And the Garveys are a different animal. I think there's some more experienced guys that are kind of like I'm going to get in, make sure you're set up, and not going to go out and kill yourself kind of thing.
Well,
it's
for
like
teaching is huge that way.
Steve talks about experience. That's where that really pays off, is being able to feel if the boat is even safe.
Right.
And I'm grateful the amount of boat owners that allowed me to drive their boats, and like there's a list of boats that I got to drive.
That's a matter of trust.
Amazing boats, and I love every family that trusted me with their boats. The Lowers trusted me with both their boats.
Larry Palmer,
Rodney Chadwick, Billy. I mean, they let me run hot rod for a while.
I still love that boat. I think that's my favorite.
Just legendary boats,
right?
And I'm grateful for that. Even Pat House let me run low budget for a little while. So
yeah,
I mean, that just awesome people, and I really appreciated all that.
Right. Well, it's cool because I see a similarity there, like with Offshore, where a lot of us have run each other's boats. Like how you're telling that story about kicking your own man's ass. I got one just like it. And it's happened the same way. Showed up to the race. Guy wasn't feeling well. I jumped in for him. We found a guy to jump in with my own man. We wound up racing against each other. So it's just funny. Like, I tell people that, and they look at me like I have 10 heads. Like, your competition lets you get in their boat, and I'm like, yeah, it's all good.
Like
we know what each other can do.
It all comes down to family.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's just cool because that's why when we first kind of got on this kick, I said to you, we're not too different. I mean, a lot of this is the same. It's the same mentality. It's the same everything. It's just, it's boat racing, man.
You guys are offshore. We're more inland, I guess you say.
Inshore.
Yeah.
I hate that term. I don't like that term, inshore. We got to come up with a better.
Bay rats.
Bay rats? I don't like that one either. We have a bay rat. We can't step over Peter.
That's funny.
But I just think it's cool, man. And looking forward, you guys are looking at running maybe 5-6 events. So the obvious local ones that you're going to kind of look to put back together down south and looking to branch off a little north. What do you guys got for a tentative schedule, or you just have an idea at the moment?
Right now it's kind of hard, like I said. I mean, I got about 2 more weeks till the LLC comes in, and that's when I can really start putting feelers out to try to get sponsors and everything, just to get a little more, because I don't want to race every week, because I've done a schedule like that, and it sucks, because you blow your motor up, you blow it up on a Sunday, and then you got to work all week, and then you got to get it ready for the next weekend. I don't want to do that. So I'm thinking maybe like 2 races a month, and maybe in between there throw a test and tune in or something. Just go out there and see what your boat still has. ideally, I would love to do 2 in June, 2 in July, 2 in August, and then depending on how it goes in September, maybe I want to do a 2-day championship day because I think that's something that hasn't been done, and I think that would just be absolutely awesome. And then, just run double points the whole weekend or even the first race, and then ideally, so I want to shoot for 8, but like I said, it all depends on the boat count and how many sponsors we can get.
Right.
Yeah. And as far as like heritage of the sport, I mean, it really started in Barnegat, right? So in the 50s, it was just clam boats.
That's where I learned about it.
Where they're literally just racing each other back to the dock.
Yep.
And then it became a 4th of July tradition. And then you fast forward to the 60s where they actually form a club and we're racing weekly or monthly, however they were doing it, So I think for us, we would love to be back in Barnegat. We would love to be in Tuckerton. That's a big tradition down that way.
And that's down at the end of Green Street?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. It's a decent site, as long as you don't mind mud up to your knees.
I've watched you guys there plenty of times. That's the coolest thing. Like with our sport, you're so disconnected from it. Like it's so far away from you. If you don't know what's going on, you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
With you guys, I mean, it's right there. You could smell it, touch it, see it, feel it.
It's pretty obvious.
It's awesome, man. It's so cool. So you got Barnegat, you got Tuckerton, maybe possibly a seaside area.
All goes well.
Yeah.
Parkertown.
We would love that.
Yeah, Parkertown's definite. We're going to be doing
Parkertown,
there,
Dock
and
Road.
Parkertown.
That's where I want to try to get the Class 7s out there with us in Parkertown.
Right, yeah, we're definitely going to do some of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I said, every place we're testing, like I was talking to Steve today when we were talking on the phone, I said, I want to go out to a few of these sites and I want to stick them. I want to go out in high tide and see how much depth we have and see maybe if we could open up a course here or there for you guys and try to get you guys out to as many races as we can. Just show the love. Get the boats out there and let's run them.
Well, and what's cool is, too, like I think we had this conversation where, like, you look at Offshore, like, as maybe Class 7 assisting you guys at drumming up some, some attention and stuff. And I got to tell you, man, they're going to be the redheaded stepchilds, not you guys. I'm telling you, man, because I've been to some of these races. And for people listening to this that know anything about OPA.
You hear that, James?
Yeah, I do have one guy that would love to try. Actually, we could probably issue the challenge. James from Naughty Boys, if you're listening, buddy, I'll put up $2,000 if you can beat any one of these skiffs or Garveys.
Oh.
At any race this year.
Oh, shit. Once laid down.
And if you don't win, you owe me $500.
Hey, Steve, ask Jarvis if we can get that modified just for one race.
You won't need it. You'll kill him. I know. I have full faith.
The turning capabilities. Literally, it would be like Talladega Nights, man. Am I racing them?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys would go by my guys like they're standing still.
Yeah.
But it's cool because, like, rolling through some of those sites, it's a lot of areas that, as offshore guys, we wish we could be in. Like, we originated here. Well, I shouldn't say we, not the sport. OPA originated here at the Jersey Shore. And so, like, there's a lot of times where I wish we could pull off another seaside event, a Barnegat Bay event, Atlantic City, but it's just so hard. They've seen offshore for so long, and it costs so much money. It's hard to quantify it and justify the return. It doesn't...
You need support from a lot of towns and everything, right?
Like, Point Pleasant's this is going to be the 53rd year of Point Pleasant this year, which is pretty cool, but that's a place that it's almost done... It's almost forced. You know what I mean? Like, the town knows they got to do it because I mean, who's going to break 53 years? And we know we got to do it. There's hardly any money there. They always give you the runaround that, the people would be on the boardwalk anyway and the typical bullshit. And then you look at you guys where, I mean, you can just barnstorm the Jersey Shore, which is so cool because it's the coolest place
it's like
to be.
when we go out testing with no permits.
Yeah.
We're going.
It's awesome. I mean, I boat down there. So I live in Mystic Islands down in Tuckerton, and I boat in the Mullica River, and I see you guys all the time. I see skiffs and Garveys go by. I just don't have the names with the faces sometimes, so like I don't know who everybody is. But I'm always watching. I think it's so cool,
It's funny you say that because bringing it back to Matt Mason, he bought his old boat. He bought the Fighting Lady. That son of a bitch put the boat in the water last year and took it to F Cove.
All right.
That crazy bastard.
That's what I said. I said, you know what? I kind of want to get the new boat going with the cage in it and bring it out there because you don't see you see a lot of skiffs out there, but you don't see a lot of them with the cage.
No, we can wake them up. I can put you in the water right here. F Cove's 3 minutes away.
Okay.
Well, that might have to be a plan. Let me get the new boat rigged up, and I'll be in touch.
Nice.
It's awesome. I think, too, part of the intrigue will be is like something new, something fresh for you guys. And the more people I talk to, that's been kind of the black cloud is all the the shortcomings, right? Over the years, the shortcomings that never get addressed, never get fixed, and now you seem to be in a situation where you have a lot of fresh blood. You have a lot of people with good intentions and good hearts that just want to go boat racing.
And the whole thing is, like, you say new and fresh. I wouldn't say new and fresh. Like, we want to keep the heritage alive. We want to keep doing what has been done for years, but we want to do it on our terms. We want to bring it back, and, like, we're not going to turn anybody away. I don't care. Like I said, you could have done the worst thing in the world to me. Your boat passes tech, your boat passes inspection, come race with us.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to hold that against anybody.
Right. Well, and when I say new and fresh, what I mean is not necessarily like, I'm not saying 18-year-old kids, but you walk around your meetings, and I know what these meetings are like. I mean, I've been to probably 1,000 of them with Offshore, and you know when you walk in a room what it's going to be.
You can feel it.
You can feel it.
You can feel it in the air.
You walk in, and it's like, oh, man, I'm going to get my ass chewed out tonight. You know what I mean?
You've got your guys congregated here and your guys congregated
and
there.
you see all the conversations going on.
This is a hold up.
And then 100%. Sometimes you walk in the room and you're like, this is going to be good. You know? And like when I walked into your meeting there at the first aid station, I'm like, this is going to be good, man. All the guys are bullshitting, chit-chatting. Everybody's got a smile on their face. It's all good. You know, you guys start the meeting. I've been through so many of those meetings where it never even gets off the ground. It's like question 1 is 3 hours long, you know? And so it's like to see where you guys are going, I can see a little bit of your future there. And it's all good. It's all going the right way. You have a good vibe. You have good people. One person that's not here is Bubba, your president, who's he's a great guy too. And there's so many possibilities for you guys. We're gonna look into on my side. I'm looking into some equipment to start doing some live streams and stuff like that I think we can incorporate with some of your events. If not, at least put recorded versions of the races out. And step the media side of it up. Because anytime you guys roll into town with one of those boats, it's immediately in a draw. I mean,
like I said, I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago. I know my skiff was in your parade for the Point Pleasant race. I had my buddies Garvey in the parade just to get them out there. I mean, the head's turning when you're coming down there, and I can't tell how many people, what class are you racing in tomorrow? I'm like, I'm not going in the ocean with this.
I mean, locally, there's just this allure, you know, with Garvey racing. You know, you show up at Barnegat Docks at 6 o'clock on Friday night to test, and they bark it off, and next thing you know, there's 30 people there just.
Well, and you said that's the coolest part is when you guys were coming around with us. I mean, we'd be doing those parades, and I mean, we had quite a few knuckleheads traveling back then. Yeah. And you'd have guys, we'd be doing these offshore parades, and we'd hear boats fire up and be bouncing off the limiters and shit, and I'd be like, what are they doing back there? You know, we can't do that. It's cool because that becomes all anybody can talk about. All of a sudden, there's little kids sitting in the seat. You're letting them play with the steering wheel, and it's a different thing than offshore. It's extremely intriguing because it looks like something that probably shouldn't be happening.
Oh no, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? Like it's like when you talk about controlling the uncontrollable, that to me is like the pinnacle of controlling the uncontrollable. I mean, there's the technology in your boats, not to make them sound as if they're not researched and refined things, but it is pretty basic.
It's hard to get any simpler.
It's a primitive machine.
That's
That's
very good.
It is, and to me, that's the coolest shit anymore. Yeah. I don't want to see any more of these computer controlled joystick.
We do have skiffs and APB that are running race packs.
Right.
But what you find out is like there's a few times where you'll get washed down. You'll come into a turn. I mean, if you watch my videos, you'll see. I mean, you get face full of water and you can't see shit. And then when you come out of it, those race packs aren't waterproof.
Right.
So you're out of the shitter, and I was going to put one in a new boat, and the more I thought about it, I'm just going to keep it traditional.
Now you mean the race pack, like data collection race pack? Yeah. So, but what I mean as far as the technology of the boat is just the way it functions. Yeah. To me, it reminds me of when you're sitting in a parking lot and just a real cool old muscle car pulls up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
you're going to go over there and look at it.
Yeah. If you're sitting there and like a 69 Camaro Yanko pulls up or something and there's a Ferrari next to it, that might as well be a Honda Civic. I don't even give a shit. You know what I mean? So like you guys have that feeling. Like when you see one of your boats, it looks like something that just you want to go find out what it is.
Yeah,
and I got to think with a little bit of a media push here with all the work you guys done to restructure your club and bring it back out in the front. And really none of this would be possible without Rick Felsen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's cool to see it kind of really come to life, become a thing. Like doing this with you guys now, being open about it, talking about it, putting it out in the world. I can't wait for people to really put their hands on it, because it is so different. It's not what we do.
It's flying a Piper Cub versus flying a 747. They're just
Dude, it's so cool.
Barnstorming is a great way to put it.
They're barnstormers, man. It's to me, it's like a funny car that turns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. And it's so radically different and it hasn't been around in so long that I think you guys are just going to blow up.
That's what
I'm
we're
happy
hoping for.
I'm happiest to see it, like the past 10 years from now until 10 years ago, like that's allowed a generational shift.
Yeah.
And this is all this, as you say, new blood that's come in. These guys are hungry to race. They want to go out there, and they're related to racing. That's why they want to race.
Exactly.
And it's awesome.
It's a lot of younger guys, but it's a blue collar sport. I mean, and the past 10 years we were an association, and I think for our sport, an association doesn't really work. You got to have a couple guys with money or some kind of backing to put that on. In our case, a club is just, it takes an army. We can do it together.
And that's the whole thing. Like
everybody's got to work together to keep it going.
Not one person's doing it. It's like he said, it takes an army, and all hands on deck. Get this thing going. I mean, that's what it's going to take.
Right. Yeah. And so you're mentioning going to work on some sponsors and stuff like that. So I was going to talk to you. How hard is that for you guys? Has that been like your main hurdle at this point?
For the most part, I mean, you'll get a few $100 here and there, but it's not like I don't want to outprice us. I'm not going to tell the guys that go out and get $2,000 from this place. We're not going to take a penny less. No, I mean, I don't mind having 150 sponsors if they give us $100. You know what I mean? Your name's going to be on the banner, or it's going to be on our shirt or something. I'm not out there to corner the market for sponsors and stuff. Just any little bit helps. That's the best way to look at it.
Yep. That's
but
the truth.
Getting off the ground now, I mean, you have some, some cost in just initial startup and some overhead and getting some equipment and stuff like that. So, like, maybe I wanted to just take a second and let people know, like, this is getting off the ground. This is ground level. It's as ground level can be. We're aligned with them, and we're going to push this thing forward as hard as we can with them. And it would be great if some of the boys would get involved here, people watching this show that are local here. Help us get this thing off the ground. If you want to come to some meetings and show some support, and it would be great, because this is something that to me is very wholesome. It's very real. It's very at home. It's really what Offshore always was. It's just recently has it grown into this big monster it is now. And so I really respect where you guys are at, and I know the challenges that are in front of you, and I know how much a little bit of dough helps kick you over the hill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, if anybody wants to come out and they have any questions, they can feel free to hit me up on Messenger or whatever, and I'll try to get them pointed in the right direction. I mean, the more boats, the merrier.
Megee.
And you got MC Adams over there. And
if you wait till the end of the show, we're going to have Steve-O breakdance for us on the table.
While he raps.
He's got his B-boy hat on and everything.
But, yeah, like I said, I mean, any little bit helps, and the more boats, it's just going to help offset and probably put on some more races for us.
So what are you looking at? Have you gotten a structure into dues, or have you structured any of that yet?
I don't want to overprice the guys, only because, you got them coming out paying $1,000 for 6 races. That's kind of redundant.
Right.
I mean, ideally, with 6 races with 13 boats, we're looking at like $2,000 race. We're looking at like $600, $650 with the help of a few sponsors.
Right.
And to me, I mean, that's a little expensive for 6 races, but if they want to race and we can't get any more, it is what it is. You guys want to race, let's do this. But in the same sense, I feel if we get 2 good races off and we have those 13 boats show up, I think more boats will come out of the woodwork.
Agreed.
Yeah,
personally,
there's 25 or 30 boats out there.
Easy.
Sitting in garages, sitting in backyards,
and
under
that's what
tarps
they're
that are
waiting
ready,
for.
that are ready to go.
They're waiting for it.
There's names you don't even know that are
exactly.
sitting on these boats. I think I don't think it would be unreasonable to think that number doubles by the time you start getting some good events off.
No, 25 boats is
which is
100%
absolutely good,
attainable.
because I mean, then we could actually do an insurance for like our radar runs and stuff. Because with the radar runs, I feel more comfortable doing insurance, having insurance for that, because you're pushing the boats to what they could do.
Right.
God forbid you hit that one roller or something, you go over.
Yeah.
You're going to be covered.
Right.
Whereas the test and tunes are kind of like, you're not racing. You don't set up any buoys. You just kind of, that's your pin. This is your pin.
Right.
Go out there and do your thing.
Very casual.
Exactly. But like I said, I mean, the sponsors, once we get them going, that's going to offset a lot of it. And then, I mean, if worse comes to worse and we get enough money in there, I'll bring it to the club when we have a meeting and say, hey, listen, we could add 1 or 2 more races. Do you want to do it? And if we get a vote for yes, I'll start doing the legwork to find a location. We can go for 2 more races.
Right.
Well, and the reason I'm asking is I'm sure there's going to be people that check this out that are not part of your club, that want to maybe think about getting involved. So it's kind of cool. Like, you know, I always went with the adage that, you know, the clowns don't pay the circus pays the clowns, right? So for people sitting at home that are kicking this around, I mean, it's not a whole lot of money to get in and get involved.
Nope.
You're supporting something that clearly has a future.
Facebook page for people to know and look up.
Absolutely. Jersey Shore Boat Racing.
Yeah.
That's our Facebook page.
And I'll have all the details involved in this when we put it up. And so it's, in my head, you can't fail. I mean, you have one of the coolest, you know, water sports possible. I mean, and you have the right people behind it. You have a really good heritage and knowledge and direction with where you guys are going. So I feel like, you know, through this summer, this is going to grow leaps and bounds.
Yep. And like I said, I feel we actually really do have a good core, especially with these kids that are coming up and racing. Like I talk to Steve a few times a week and, you know, pick his brain on it because he's been down this road before. And I think what we have now and what the potential is going to be, I think it's going to take off, like you said. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any issues, and I think next year, I mean, nothing's stopping us from, as long as we had the boat count, to, you know, run 10, 12 races next year and maybe branch out a little bit with you guys. Like if we get an invite to go somewhere, I'm sure some of the guys will jump at the chance to go race with you
You're
guys.
invited.
And there we go, boys.
That was easy.
You're invited. You know, the hard part with us is not a whole lot of thought goes into looking for flat water. You know, we're usually looking for something to get a little lumpy,
Yeah.
you know?
On, yeah.
So, like, it's a little tough, like, as far as incorporating it into most of our events, but we do have a few that would be killer. Like, I could think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head that would really be badass. So, and I know you can't, there's always that back and forth of could it be a points race or not, the travel, who could really do it, but sometimes just coming out there with none of that hanging over you and just put on a show.
That's the whole thing. Like, even this year, like, say we get invited to one of your races or something, you know, I'm not going to send any boats there unless we have at least 5 boats because 5 boats makes it interesting because the people, some of the people don't know what they're looking at. And if you get a seasoned driver, like you take Steve or somebody, you put him in a rocket ship that you know is going to go out there and smoke every other boat out there. He's well versed enough to know, like, he's leading them. He's going to start pedaling a little bit to make it look like it's competitive to keep the people on the shore really interested in it.
And also to keep me off your ass with that whistler.
What?
I'll tech your ass.
Go ahead. Bring it.
I got to see this.
Oh, don't worry. If he winds up in a boat, I'm building something. I started racing against you.
Really?
I realized that the other day.
Oh, my God.
That I always do you a disservice.
For Class 6?
I talk about all these phenomenal people that coached me up through the sport when I was a kid.
It wasn't me.
And I always leave out you with that sensation.
Not me, man.
You kicked my ass a few times.
We did. And it was actually funny. I remember flipping off Ryan as we passed you guys broke down, and he was like,
yeah, you're a bad sport. You're not even like a good friend.
Not. We're racing. When that green flag goes, there ain't no friendships.
Steve-O raced a boat with us. What was that, a 26 or a 24? 24 sensation.
24 sensation with Bob Gagan.
It was a big old banana. It was all yellow.
It was a worthy boat.
It was a worthy boat.
Yeah.
And we raced against each other my whole first season. When I first started racing, was I 14, 15?
Oh, my God.
14? I forget now.
Baby boomer.
Yeah. Baby boomer. And, I had this, I love this shit. I've loved this shit ever since I was a kid,
It's a passion.
And when I got my boat, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I mean, I'll just tell you the God's honest truth, but you think you do. You know what I mean? Like, you never in your head, I don't care if you're 14 years old, it's your first time you've ever done it, or you're 70 and it's the last one you're ever going to do. You think you're going to win. You know what I mean?
Nobody in there thinking, nothing's going to beat me. I've seen the pass boat out here.
Until you don't.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
exactly.
I got a plan for everything. You know what I mean? Like, if this guy gets in front of me, I'll go around him, I'll cut him here, I'll get him on that pin. And it never works out. Any plan you ever make before a race, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys, goes right out the window when the green flag goes up. You know,
it's like getting punched in the face by Mike Tyson.
But nothing was worse than getting passed by him. Nothing was worse than getting passed. Especially you and Bob, Bob's like the most unassuming character.
Very much so.
You would never think this guy was like a badass boat racer. Like when you meet him, he's a very nice, tailored, gentleman. Like you'd never think. And he gets in a boat, and he's an absolute badass. And he put this knucklehead in there with him. And I started racing against you. I'll fix
crazy.
that, buddy. I'll add you to the list of legends that I
please.
slayed.
Oh, Steve Adams, the legend. That has a nice ring to it.
That he slayed.
The Slade legend. I like
That's
that.
going to be the name of your first solo on your album.
Hey, where are they going? What, Reese's
Slade
Pieces,
again.
MC Adams?
But so I figured we ran through your schedule, your classes, your breakdowns. Now, when you do your world championship, that is something that clearly is very important. You want to pull off your 2 days of racing, and did you have a site lined up for that? Something in mind?
Not yet.
What's a goal for you guys? I mean, coming out of this, something you could look back on. What's a goal? Where's a good dream site for your world championship?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, for years it was in Beach Haven.
Yep.
I mean, I love that site myself.
Beach Haven we've had in Tuckerton a few times.
Yeah. Beach Haven was the big one.
I hear Beach Haven a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Beach Haven's a fun site.
Always after Chowderfest, late
Yep.
late September, nice cold water,
Yep.
wake
Good
you up in the
horsepower
morning.
weather.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Just
I like
Great
that a lot.
crowds,
Yeah.
great, and the town always supported it, which was also wonderful. So
And I guarantee you that we went there again. I guarantee you they'd be like, let's do it.
yeah, and the World Championship races are completely different also because typically the standard races are 3 laps for everybody. When it comes to World Championship, they're 5-lap races. So
And it's double points.
the boats are they're actually put to the limit because 5 races is a lot of time for
Well, hang
a
on.
motor
So
in those boats.
5 laps or 5 races?
5 laps. I'm sorry.
Okay,
5 laps
but
versus 3.
Now, is that 5 laps heat style?
It depends on the boats.
Yeah.
If there's enough boats, they break heats down. But if the class has, I think we would do 6 or less boats, it makes a race. So if there's 6 or less boats, then they would do their 5 laps as the championship race.
Over 6, you run a heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, is that just to try to give a fair shake on the first lap?
For the heats, absolutely, because you can't put that many boats out there. It's not really safe.
Right. Because of how short the course is, or
The turns.
Turns.
right.
Yeah.
And also advantage. I mean, I'd imagine if you're lane 7 versus lane 1,
You really don't stand a chance.
good luck. Yeah. At least with offshore, you got a pretty good shot at working your way back up there. But watching a few of your races, that would be just a motherfucker to get back from.
You were talking earlier about strategy. You know, at this lap, I want to be a certain, I want to be past this
I
boat.
was going to ask you about this with heats. Yeah.
So in the championship races, you got to remember some of those Garveys are only running like 3-4 gallon tanks in them.
Right.
So they have just enough to just get
Right.
past that finish line of 5 laps. Whereas the skiffs, I run a 20 gallon tank of mine. I'll go all day long because not only do I race my boats, but sometimes I'll pop the cage out and I'll just go out for a cruise. You know what I mean? So there is some type of strategy like you'll see on a championship. The people that don't really know, they'll go out there and they'll just keep going warm-up laps until everybody's milling, whereas the legends would go out there and just stop and mill, and they'll just conserve their gas.
Right.
And then they'll wait for everybody to catch up to you.
Right.
And then when they do that, that's you come out to a race, you'll start seeing who is good behind the wheel. I can't say that because, I've seen a few of the kids drive, and they have it in them. But you'll see who is the seasoned driver compared to who isn't.
Yeah, and so our world championships are a little bit different too. So we run like class world championships, and then they run an all-out Garvey world championship where it's everybody from 2-barrel
a
stock
free-for-all.
to
Oh, right
modifieds.
on.
Yeah.
Right
you
on.
know,
I dig that.
just from
Yeah.
class, slowest class to fastest class, 10 boats wide.
Right.
On the outside.
We do something like that in Lotto. We do
Yeah.
that run what you brung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you just anybody with any boat. It's got to be over a certain, I think it's got to be more than 30 feet and canopied. But it could be anything. It could be
whoever,
a super cat. It could be, my boat. It could be whatever. And
Yeah.
you'd be amazed who wins sometimes.
Speaking of that, you got to give me a ride in a canopy boat.
No doubt, dude. No doubt.
I told
Come.
Steve the same thing. I'm like, I've been in everything. I've been in open cockpits. I've been strapped into the cages. I want to feel that rush of sitting in a canopy boat.
No doubt. Anytime you want. What I will tell you is you probably won't be very impressed. We were actually just talking about this. The one big thing that the canopy boats have over the open boats is you don't feel anything. It's like sitting in your car. There's no wind. There's none of that. So it's not like you're dealing with the wind trying to tear your helmet off your head. And, a lot of those boats where you're standing up in the bolsters or versus sit down. But either way, you're out in the element. When you get in a canopied boat, the first thing you realize is it's tight in there. Like, that's the first thing. When you get in and you get your belts on, you feel like you're in a clown car, you know? And then you kind of adjust to that. You get comfy. Hopefully the claustrophobia doesn't kick in.
Nah.
And once that hatch comes down, man, it's time for battle, man. It's ready to go. I mean, it's a purpose-built machine. This isn't a pleasure boat that somebody gutted and put some motors in, or it's a finely tuned machine.
And
but
the sensation of speed goes away, which
you're bulletproof.
it totally translates into bulletproof mind, because you will do everything.
I don't want to call it a false sense of security, but it is.
No, because I know exactly where you come from. When I first got my skiff, it didn't have a cage in there. And I was driving out there saying, okay, you know, I got to do this to prevent me from getting thrown the hell out of my boat. The second I put a cage in there, and I'm sure you ask 99% of the skiff drivers, you drive like an asshole because you're strapped in. You're in a 5-point harness. Where you go, that boat, where the boat goes, you go.
Right.
So you just feel like it's a little more invincibility. You're like, okay, you know what? I wouldn't do this if I didn't have a cage, but I'm going to push the limits here.
Oh yeah,
right.
And it goes up 10 times with the canopy boat.
I don't know.
bet.
I don't know that I buy the false sense of security thing, because I follow Travis Pastrana and Britt Lilly on Instagram. And that's one of the craziest guys in the world, and I see pictures, stills of him, death grip in the handle.
They just posted one not long ago when they ran into each other.
He's,
they ran into each other, and you can see his face like this.
It's not gonna stop you from making funny faces.
Yeah.
You're still gonna do that.
It's,
my favorite Travis quote is, "I wasn't prepared mentally or physically for that."
yeah, so it's like you got one of the most wild guys in the whole world, and it's boats driving him,
you know what it is?
him.
Where those faces you see him making. Now, if you follow Pastrana, you know he makes those faces and everything he does. But but really, what that's coming from is the proximity.
Okay.
So it's like when you're running one of those boats. See, like your boats, you have a decent level of control over what's going on, right? They turn really well. They're to an extent, but that extents there in any motorsport, right?
Yeah.
There's always the line, but with these, it's pretty out of control. Like, our boats, if you do the math on them, right, they're 4750 is what we all weigh out at. So they're under 5,000 pounds. You're running with a Mercury 525, which makes no power. It's a pleasure boat motor. I mean, it's a racing motor, but it makes 550. It's not big power for offshore. Yeah. Now, if you factor in that on that baby motor, these boats are running almost 100. You are as loose can get. The trim tabs are gone. That's not even a thing. They're folded up behind the boat. You're running on the edges of the prop blades. And chime walk is a real scary thing when you're at that point, and especially like how you're saying, seasoned drivers, right? Take a guy like Pastrana, who, absolutely, all the talent in the world, right? But he doesn't have the experience of offshore. Yeah. Where, the boat's doing some pretty fucked up shit, but also you've done this a million times and you know it's going to be fine.
Right.
Just kind of muscle through it.
Yeah.
That, if you're not good at that, it'll scare the shit out of you.
It's funny you said that because, my first skiff was inboard rudder. And then I was riding with somebody for a while, that 77 boat. And I got the opportunity to drive it. So I went out there, and I've only driven an outboard rudder skiff once. And it wasn't anything to write home about. So I got put in this, and there was no test, and it was go, get out on the course and race. Of course I'm going to do it. And I mean, what a world of difference. You say the chine walk. That boat's an outboard rudder boat. So when you're going to a turn, you start turning it like this, you could literally feel the ass end start coming out from around you. And you have to start counter steering, bumping it back and bringing it back. And I didn't know that at first. And
so that picture is perfect to show you. See the step where the hole is on the side of the boat?
Yeah.
Okay, that is probably 6 to 8 inches ahead of our center of gravity. Okay, so all that step really is for is acceleration. The pad in the back where the V ends is kind of where the boat runs on. So that's where we have some stuff in common. When you're up at that high speed number, right, it's running on a basically flat board, right? So it's searching constantly for something to run on. And it finds a lifting strake, which pushes it back up and pushes it over on this side. And now that's where the skill of the driver comes in.
So you're kind of doing this coming down.
That's where, and I brag about him all the time. My old man impresses me every single time I get in a boat with him. He has this innate ability to know what it's going to do before it does it. And I don't understand it. He explains it to me a million times over. I feel it my ass. I feel it hit me here, and I know I got to go here. And I'm like, Pop, what you're saying makes sense, But trying to do it in real time is when you get those Travis Pastrana faces.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, I thought I had it, but I fucking don't. And like to that extent, yeah, it's all there. But what I'm saying you won't be impressed with is a suspension seat, air conditioning, vents
Wait, they
blowing
got
in your
suspension
face.
seats
I
on?
don't. What I have is more of a trophy truck style seat, so it's like a steel mesh. So there's a little bit of give, not a lot. Like you get your ass kicked pretty hard in that little boat. But like for instance, like if you got in that 38 Fountain, if you ever watched like some of the video I have, I've never really even put it out. Me and my old man put that on its roof in Inglewood in a straightaway at over 100, and barrel rolled it right side up and kept right on going, and I never felt it. Like I never, like, I mean, probably one of the most violent sequences I've ever been a part of. Never felt it because the boat takes everything for you. There's no wind. There's no getting folded over the gunwale. There's none of that.
Yeah.
You're belted in. You don't move. I mean, the worst possible scenario is it racks you hard enough to kind of put you out. Like that's happened to me where I've lost my vision. I've
Guilty.
gotten, yeah, and you guys would definitely understand that because I'm sure the G-forces that you're pulling, especially in a Garvey, are probably much higher than an offshore boat. The difference is we get it in a quick whack. Like we'll probably go from like 2 Gs to like 18 and back to 2 in tenths of a second.
Yeah.
And what happens is you never really feel it happen. All of a sudden you just can't see. Like it's either fuzzy or it's all black. And like I've been in situations where my old man's like, dude, you're heading for the turnboat. You know, and I'm like, I can't see, dude. You know, sorry. Like it is real in those instances, but it won't impress you. You won't feel it the way you feel your boat. Like the moment I got in a canopy, I wish I never did. Because like the open boats are so much more fun. Because I like to drive Dover down style.
So it's basically, I guess you can compare it to a skiff because you're strapped in, you're going where the boat is, but you're in an open. Have you ever been in a cage skiff?
No,
All right,
I've
when I
never
get
been
mine
in a
rigged-
skiff. No,
Oh,
I'm
shit.
going.
Oh,
Trust me,
shit.
I'm accepted. I just, you know what the difference? It's hard to explain it. It's like when you get in an open boat, you feel everything. You feel every emotion, every element, every ass kicking. It's right there in your face and real and raw. Like it's just not sugar coated at all. Like you get hosed down, the water hurts, the visor blows off, you lose a GoPro, you're motherfucking the guy in front of you. You got, you know what I
Been
mean?
there.
Yeah. You get in these canopied boats and like all that shit can happen and it don't matter.
Yeah.
Like you get a little wet, it leaks through a hatch or something. It's just not. It's not what you think it is. The competition is like
Right.
to your point about
Yes.
like with Travis because of that false sense of security. Where all of a sudden, like if you cut the lids off those boats, the quality of racing would drop immediately. Guys would be like, "Oh, I ain't doing that." You know what I mean? But
That's the truth.
But with the lid on them, sure, we'll put them in there wide open, 8 wide, with boats that don't turn and bounce off each other and come out the other side and fix each other's shit in the parking lot.
Yep.
But you remove that canopy and none of that shit happens.
Brings a whole different level.
Yes.
You were with us all season, right? You handled GPS for us all season with Cody, and so all season, can you recall a bracket class accident? Two
One.
boats. Two boats hit each other.
No, not hitting.
That's what I'm saying.
No, nobody hit.
I can give you 10 canopied boats that hit each other.
Yeah, no.
I
I
can
was just
give
going
you
to say,
3.
I watched one right in Point
I
Pleasant.
was going to
this
say
year.
I can give you 3 in Point Pleasant.
Yep.
So it's you
Yeah.
know, and that's the difference is the guys in the canopies will push that much harder because you feel safer, and to an extent you are. Like
Even
there's-
Class 7, and they race close.
Yeah, no, they didn't bump at all.
No.
When you're out in the open, man, you're a little more careful. You know.
It's funny you said it because the one year I had my skiff there, I don't know who it was, but they had a canopy boat. And I was fucking with them. I'm like, hey, bring me for a ride in your boat. And next time I'm testing, give me your number. I'll bring you for a ride in that. And he's like, one of them? I said, yeah, Jersey Speedster. I said, fuck you. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know who it was, but
I've mentioned it. We were down in Myrtle Beach last weekend with probably 50, 60 of those guys, and they all were wondering what this all is. I've been pretty vocal about it, and I've been talking to them, and they're like, I can't believe you're getting involved with them. They're nuts, like, in a good way, you know? Yeah. And I'm like, it's just, you know what it is? It's just different. It's just apples and oranges from what we do, but it's all from the same tree, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I see where you know, like you brought it back before, you know, getting blurred when you're going. I sent the skiff to the moon in Cambridge. And I had my dad with me because my son had to leave that night. So my dad was dunk testing and stuff. He goes, oh, I'll race with you. And I remember going out there, and we were coming into the turn. I was setting the plate, and I wanted to dive on the inside because it was a Sunday race. And I put the boat where it shouldn't have been. And the second I put the boat in there, I said, I don't want to be here. I was like, I got to correct this. And the next thing I know, I remember waking up on the infield. I picked my head up, and the boats were coming at me. And I turned around. And I started hitting the starter. My dad smacked me. He's like, "You're fucking done. You're done." He said my pupils were like that. I don't remember the ride home.
Wow.
All I remember is my wife grabbing me in the morning next day and telling me we're going to the hospital.
Jeez.
Yeah, it gets real quick, man.
And she has video of that. Like, you could see how high I was up in the air.
Right.
Yeah, I would. I still strap back in, though. I mean, that's the passion.
Isn't it funny? We're all like, I laugh in offshore. The guys will put up pictures, and it's never of like the boat doing anything it's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like for instance, the picture that's behind you guys, as bigger than any other picture I have on the wall, is the worst case scenario for a boat possible.
Completely out of shape.
You know how many times I'll be sitting there and somebody will send me a picture from a race we were at, and you never know you were up that high. You're like, what the fuck? But that's the way I roll. You were at that race.
Yep.
It cracks me up. It's the same with everybody, no matter who you are. Like I laugh. You get like some guys like I'm sure you guys know like the Miss Geico team and them. So Scott Begovich, who raced skiffs for years.
Yep.
And so like I'll talk to Scotty from time to time, and after skiffs, he raced a 24 Pantera in Class 5, which is now Coastal Boat Sales, if you recognize the boat.
Yeah, I know the boat.
So he raced that after skiffs. And I'll talk to him from time to time about just, I admire the guy. Scotty's a Jersey boy. Started in OPA with us.
He's
20
awesome
years
because he's
ago.
down to earth.
He's an awesome dude. He really is. He's, Scotty's a guy that never changed. Like, I've
he's
seen,
humble.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those guys come up through the ranks. They start racing a boat. They make a name for themselves. They wind up a big deal. And they act like a big deal. Scotty's just the same Scotty that I knew 20 years ago that would bring me in the boat on parades with him. It was just normal. And talking to him, you'd laugh at what he enjoyed the most. It's always the skiff, and it's always that 24 Pantera. And it's because they're the same thing. I mean, you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and it cracks me up that you can go to the highest of highs in this sport, and still, it'll never scratch that itch that you guys are scratching,
Well, he's had the same opportunity. I mean, he raced Garvey's for a long time, and he had we were racing, what was that, Greenwood that year?
Yeah.
And he came to my house at butt crack of dawn so we can get there. And we went out there, and one of the guys needed a rider. So kind of threw him right to the wolves. No test, nothing. Chris, here's your helmet. Here's your capsule suit. Go.
Right.
That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rung my bell good when he won out.
Yep.
Nice.
So I'm done with that. Give me a beer. I'm going to the motorhome.
But like I said, I mean, even the opportunities there for us. I've already reached out to APBA about possibly going to the Maze Landing event when they have it. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, we've raced there before. Didn't you set it up one year with you guys, too?
I did Greenwood Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have loved to do Maze Landing because that was a lot closer.
Yeah. But like I said, I already made the phone call to them, and I got the legwork started for that. So, I mean, my ultimate idea for this whole thing is just branch out.
Right.
Go as big and as far as we can and try to get the people that have never seen these races before, get them to a show and maybe get some new recruits, get some new drivers out there, get some new people to buy boats because
it's that exciting.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a rush. I mean, that's the easy way to describe it.
Yeah.
I mean, you go there and like you said it before, you got these little 16, 17-foot boats doing 80, 90 miles an hour on a quarter mile, and they're holding that speed in a turn.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often.
No, you don't see it anywhere.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, we just got a call, funny enough, a guy that wants to come Class 6 racing, and what he does now is he's one of those guys that goes out in the ocean and tows water skiers at like 80 miles an hour. You ever see these guys?
No.
Water ski racing.
Water skier racing. I never heard of this shit either. I've seen it, but I didn't know it was as organized as it is.
It's kind of big out west, and then
What the fuck? Am I the only one that's not heard about
100 miles
this?
an hour.
Australians
are
are insane with it.
And they're racing. Like, they're racing at the same time.
Yeah.
The boats are racing, but the stipulation is you got to tow the skier.
Yeah, it's more like an enduro, right? Where they stagger the starts. And,
yeah, they run in like Lake Havasu, all flat water stuff. But there is some guys that go out in the ocean with these things. And this guy's like, I want to come try Class 6. I'm like, have at it, dude. Just no water skier.
Holy shit. 100 mile an hour on skis?
So the
one
point,
ski.
The point is
One ski?
One ski.
The point is, I think
How's that fucking enema feel?
I think the water is. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to racing anything on the water, it's like the last of the Mohegans, where it's just it hasn't been fucked with yet. It's not super regulated yet. It's not. My biggest thing personally is like I always think back to Morehead City the first year when you were there with us, and we went to Morehead City, North Carolina in the COVID year, 2020, and we had every other race cancel on the schedule except for that one.
Your dad told me about this one.
Dude, we got there, and the wildest thing is there was a spectator fleet that, I mean, we couldn't even begin trying to count because you weren't allowed to do anything else, right? So everybody was out in their boats. And the American flags and the Trump flags and it was like the most American-looking event I've ever seen in my life. And then you go home and you turn on the TV and there's like these like, ball and stick players, crying about bullshit. And I'm like, I'm so
taking
happy.
a knee when the anthem goes off and
I'm
shit.
so happy I race boats. You know what I mean? Like,
It's a whole different breed.
it is,
God.
and it's special. It really is. And what you guys have going on is special. And I think really the key for you guys is just doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're doing it the right way. You're going about it the right way. You have a lot of good people with you. And so I wish you all the best, man.
Like I said, I'm really digging the core we have here, and I'm digging the people that don't want to be involved but are giving me feedback and helping me when I ask for it and kind of point me in the right direction. Like, that means the world to me.
Those people, they're going to be involved. I laugh. Rob Lauer, I'll shout you out publicly. Who's that? The old man? Yeah. Answer it. We got a special guest on Offshore Live number 19.
Yo, what's up? I'm doing a podcast. What are you doing? Are you Gigi's?
Hold him up to the mic.
Oh. Yeah, we're here to... I see you now. Let me see. Hey, West man.
Here, let me see the phone real quick. Where's Pop? Where's Pop?
Tell Gigi I said hi.
I'm in here with the Jersey Shore Boat Racing Association, and we're just wrapping up a podcast. You got anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, really excited to join forces with you guys and kick this thing off and bring this sport back where it belongs.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what we love to hear.
Thanks, Pop.
Hell
I'll play it a
yeah.
little bit.
Thank you.
So Boomer, the real question is, what's the over-under that you and Pop have a boat before the end of the year or the beginning of the next year?
Highly likely. Highly likely. Listen, that's the one thing that is kind of buried in all this is a lot of this is we're just kind of junkies, man. Like, I don't know if you've noticed walking in this joint, but
No.
everything on the floor out there is all our projects, is all things that we want to race, have raced and broken half, raced and need to fix. So there's a pretty good chance you wind up, would you say you have 13 boats?
Yeah.
Highly likely you have 14 shortly. There's not much that we can ever be involved in. Like, we can't go to NASCAR without talking about trying to buy a car or...
Yeah, you can't be half in, right?
It's just
There's
there,
no
dude.
half
It's all
in.
we
No.
do. It's like, I get it. For some people, they have TV shows they like, or they travel, or whatever the fuck normal people do. I really don't know. Like,
They play
even
golf. They might play golf.
golf. Yeah, I don't know. What do normal people do? Do you have any?
Who knows?
I can't even begin.
Define normal.
Yeah, like I don't know, but whatever it is, it
I
ain't
thought
me.
we were normal.
Because I'm not going to lie, like, I would say good 85% of my friends all race boats, so they're on the same friggin' crazy-ass mentality I'm on.
Well, that means you got a good group of friends, and everybody else is just weird.
That's
I
right.
only got 5, so, 85 is probably a high number.
But what we do? We hit your schedule, your tentative. What else you got? You got anything you wanna put out there?
Like I said, if you're interested in doing anything or even help sponsor us, reach out to us. That's the easiest thing, and we'll definitely get you pointed in the right direction. The more boats, the merrier. Actually, another thing I wanted to throw out there is nobody's ever seen these boats before. When we set up a date with you and your pop to bring the boats down here to weigh them, they're more than welcome to come down and check them out.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We don't have a date yet, but when we do, I'll make sure it's public. And we're going to bring all these boys here to the shop and Brick and weigh the boats and try to get them as close to, an even playing field as possible. We're going to have to, in the coming weeks, up to about a month, we should be able to at least stitch together a tentative schedule. We're fishing for partners. We're fishing for sponsors. I'm telling you guys, this is a good thing. This is going to go. As sure as I'm sitting here, it's going to go. So get involved now and help these guys get it off the ground. The shore here deserves it. The racers here are the real deal. They're as real as any one of us. And they just need a kick in the ass, man. Help them get over the hill. Support. It's a good thing. Trust me. And if you don't trust me, trust MC Steve-O.
Yeah.
MC Adams.
MC Adams. I like that one better. MC Adams.
Stephen M.
Stephen M. All right, boys. You got anything else?
No,
Chris?
we would just like to thank you guys for having
Yeah,
us on the podcast. I mean,
No thanks needed,
The
brother.
publicity is great, any and all, and we appreciate you guys.
Well,
support.
listen, I might charge you by the view. You know what I mean? All
Oh, yeah.
all a couple hundred of them. Or something, you know?
And that's the whole thing. Like, even when we do a test and tune and stuff, you're more than welcome to come out because we're not going to have the insurance as we normally would. So if you want to get a taste like what it's like to go in a skiff or a Garvey or something, come out to one of our test and tunes. I know I'll personally, if I find a freaking gasket kit, I'll take you for a ride in one of the skiffs.
Right on. I'll be
Awesome.
there. Cool.
I know. I already got you locked up.
Yep. Yep. That's done.
What's your fabrication?
Knits Craft Machine Company. I'm down in Bayville.
Cool,
All
cool.
right.
Facebook page?
Jersey Shore Boat Racing.
MC Stevo. You can find him on Spotify, wherever you get your music.
Reese's Pieces.
Thank you very much.
Offshore Live 19. Thanks, guys.